Hey, everybody. Welcome to the monthly support call. This is Laurel. So happy to be here. If you can hear the sound of my voice, see if you would do a little heart. Okay, perfect. Thank you all so much. And then for anybody that is new here, I'm just going to do a little intro here in a moment. But if you are planning on requesting support or want to interact in some way, feel free to raise your hand with the reaction button. It should be on the bottom of your screen. I know there's some hands already raised, but that'll make sure that you're in the queue, ready to go. So, hello. This is my monthly support call. We've been here first Wednesday of the month, and if you've joined me before these last few calls, you know that I have some changes going on in my life. I'm in graduate school. And so next June will be the last support call for the time being. So, yeah, so exciting to spend this time and just want to let you know that now, in case you enjoyed today's call and you want to join us next month, make sure to mark that first Wednesday, which I think is, June 3rd, because it'll be a really special one. So if you are new to this space, these calls are an opportunity to request support using the Sedona method. And you'll probably notice that my take on it is a little bit different than other coaches that use this modality. I like to really connect with the body. So that will likely happen today. And you may also have questions about this technique, which I'm happy to answer to the best of my ability. And also, I welcome any gains, any ways that using the Sedona method has made a difference in your life to help inspire others to see what's possible. So, thank you again for being here. And I think I'm just going to go ahead. Sometimes we'll be doing, if you ask for support, it may be one-on-one, and other times it may be a group release because it seems like it's something that could help everyone. So there'll likely be a mix of both. And if we get to a point where people don't have questions, then you're also free to request a group release if you're not comfortable doing a one-on-one support. So yeah, we'll just kind of see what happens with the rest of this hour. All right, first up, we have Sharon.
Hi, Laurel. Thanks very much for doing these calls. Really
You're
appreciate
so
it.
welcome. I'm glad
It's,
to have you here. How are
yeah,
you?
glad to be here. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Oh, what's going on? I'm feeling very anxious just even sharing.
Okay.
But it's just, I mean, I released with you a couple of months ago about the neighbour, which was really helpful.
Yeah.
I think I'll start with again that I'm less affected. But over the last
Good.
2 weeks, she's been very, very aggressive again. And she's just, her behaviour's getting more unreasonable. And now
Hmm.
she's actually accused me. A few months back, I was putting the bin out, and the guy that she has stay there, he like blocked my way back in. And my mum's seen what happened. She come out the back because she knows what they're like. And he like blocked me, but after a few moments, he was very aggressive, but he did move out my way. And she's actually accused me of pushing him against the wall. And I just feel that she's very dangerous, really. And she did something on Friday to us. And I'm just feeling very, very unsafe and just wondering, you know, how I'm feeling really desperate now to move out of here, move on from here.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm feeling like more and more I'm getting into a space of, even though it'd be a little bit like feel like a miracle to find somewhere. But I'm feeling like trust is coming more and more through doing the releasing. Um, but now I'm feeling like the desperate energy is probably a little bit getting in the way as well. So just some
Yeah.
help and support, please, Lord, because it's a very, very difficult situation to deal with. I've never had to deal with anything like this in all my life, and neither has my mum. And my mum's late 70s, and I don't think she should have to be going through this. She's been crying. I've been
Mhm.
upset. And it's just a horrible way to live. And we're sharing a communal space.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's very difficult. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, and I know you've been going through it for a while.
Yeah,
One question that just came up. Do you and your mom ever do releasing together?
we do actually. We're
Okay,
doing,
great.
yeah, we're doing
Good.
it more and more. So that is helpful. Yeah.
How does she respond to it?
She's not she's not really as thingy about it as I am, but she has done some releases with me recently because of what, because it's so intense what's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay, good. That's great to hear.
yeah,
And and this desperate feeling, like if that was gonna if that just melted away, if that was no longer here, what would be on the other side of it?
I would really like to feel just relief and just to
Hmm.
know that we'd found somewhere and we were moving on. That's what it
Okay.
feels like right now. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. So let's do some holistic releasing around that.
Okay, thanks, Laura.
Welcome. So in this moment, could you allow that desperate feeling to be here as much as it appears to be?
Yeah, that's easy. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just really like giving it full permission to
Yeah.
show up as much as it is.
It's like a lot of shaking because there's a lot of fear going on. Because I
Yeah,
think my circumstances here with not being on the
yeah,
tenancy and that, it just feels like I could, be asked to leave here and I've through
yeah,
no fault of my own. So it's really fearful that I've got nowhere then to go.
absolutely. So just allowing that and allowing the body, however it's going to respond, as you welcome this desperation and this really feeling unsafe.
Yeah, I can do that, thanks.
Yeah, good. And then could you welcome what's on the other side of that? If if this feeling is no longer here, could you welcome the possibility of there being relief, a solution?
Yeah, I'm open to that, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I'm
just feels
open to,
like there's a bit of lack of trust. It's like, why is life putting us through this?
I
Oh,
understand. Yeah. So just for now, well, I guess we'll switch over because that's what's coming up.
yeah.
Could you welcome that lack of trust
Oh,
and really feeling like, man, life has just not been on your side lately?
yeah, I can feel that, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Good, 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 good.
Oh.
And then,
Oh.
good. Yeah, just for a moment, welcoming whatever was released, just that after, just noticing.
Yeah, there feels a little bit of relief here now. Yeah,
Good,
yeah.
good. And so let's welcome that even more without needing to know how,
Yeah.
but could you welcome, well,
Oh, it feels like there's a bit of grief here actually coming up.
okay, let's go to the grief. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Good job. Good job.
oh, thanks.
And then could you welcome that peace on the other side of grief?
Yeah, I can, thanks.
Yeah. So what's here now?
I felt like there was a little bit of opening then as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. a little bit like, yeah, this won't be forever. It's
Yeah.
just, just like a little bit of opening that even though it feels like a financial leap and other
Mhm.
issues, it feels that, hopefully life will support us in this and
Yeah.
bring us somewhere affordable rather sooner rather than later. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So could you be open to that possibility that of that new home that's going to be feasible for you? Would your mother go with you?
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't let her stay here, to be honest, not with the way
Yeah.
that person is next door. Yeah. It wasn't
Yes.
going to be the way, it was going to be me just going at some point, but I don't feel it's safe for her to stay here. So, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah.
just could you be open to that possibility of a home that's going to fit you and your mother and it's going to be safe?
Yeah, there's an opening to that, but there's also a lot of like doubt, I suppose. Like, yeah, there's doubt as well, Laurel, if
Yeah.
I'm honest. Yeah.
Please be honest. And could you notice how much you doubt that? All
Yeah,
the
it's like
reasons
how,
that all the
yeah,
reasons that are saying no. What's
yeah,
that?
it's like how will it be possible? How would it be
Yeah.
possible right now?
And could you notice how much you want to figure that out?
Yeah. And it just drives me crazy because you can't figure it out.
Yeah, so could you let go of wanting to figure it out?
Oh, yes, I can. Yeah.
And would you?
Yes.
When?
Right now.
Yeah. Would you allow that to just dissolve and
Oh,
be open to this solution that may just seem to come out of nowhere.
oh yeah, I like that. Thank you, Laurel. Yeah. Wow, yeah.
I mean, that is a possibility.
Yeah, yeah. It feels like
Yeah.
a leap of faith in some ways. It just,
Well,
yeah,
I
yeah. But I
mean,
know that is possible. I know it happens in life at
it
times,
happens all the time.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
greatest things in our lives are often the things that we did not go looking for.
yeah,
I have had that experience, and I know others have too.
yeah, yeah. It just feels like it's been such a long time in this situation, and yeah, it's just
Just because it seems like you've been in the situation for a long time does not mean it will take a long time to get out of it.
yeah. I think that's what keeps coming up. It's going to take time. It's like, yeah,
I mean, it will
um,
take the time that it takes.
yeah. And I trust as well that, and my mum trusts that we'll be protected from our lies and what she's doing in some ways, divinely protected. So it's just, but it's difficult because we've been in the garden today because it's been quite nice today, and it's just continuing the
Yeah.
nastiness. So
Well,
it's,
often things come to they get to that critical point.
yeah,
It's like kind of like that point of no return
yeah,
where it just takes what might seem like hitting bottom for it to
yeah,
be like, okay, that's going to be the motivation. Like, it's not just me moving. Mom is coming too. We're going to find a better, like, sometimes it just takes that, um,
yeah.
it could seem like a crash for you to propel us forward.
Yeah, I do feel at times like there's such like strong energy here. Even like the anger feels more positive to like, to do something. But I've actually not been well the last few days as well. I think it's the stress of it all. And I'm
Yeah,
feeling frustrated with that, Laura, because I feel like I'm being like trying to be positive, thinking, we're going to get out of here, and then I'm not well. So it's harder to deal with. But yeah, it's just, as I say, it's a timing thing, isn't it, sometimes?
it is a timing thing. And I
Yeah.
just encourage you, Sharon, like, there's a lot happening. And
Yeah.
so, however you're feeling about the situation, could you just allow yourself to feel whatever you feel?
Yeah, it feels, to be honest as well, at the time it was happening 2 weeks ago when me and my mum were just sat in the garden, the other neighbour come out that she's like befriended. Now, this person seems to be just desperate to have her as a friend. And I told her all what was going on. And I think that's why she made this lie up. And the
Hmm.
next day she went past our kitchen window, this is the other neighbour, and said, "Oh, are you okay after what happened?" And I thought, it's like she's it's like we're the ones who are doing it, not the other way around. And it feels very, very unfair. And I'm
Yeah.
feeling really, really, as I say about that, Laura, I feel sick at my stomach that,
Yeah.
this is like going on and it's just such a lack of integrity and truth.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, there's very little, if anything, you can do to change your neighbor.
yeah, I know, yeah,
And what you can make an impact around is you and your mom.
yeah.
So as best as you can, could you allow yourself to focus on you and your mom and being in a safe space? You
Oh,
know?
yes, I can, yeah, thanks. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it may take a little effort to get out of there and to
yeah.
find that next place, but that's where the energy and attention needs to go.
Yeah, it does. My mum says that to me. Quite interesting because I seem to sometimes get so pulled into what she's actually doing, and I know it's not helpful. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is the focus on the positive and moving out of here rather than
Yeah.
what's going on. Yeah,
Well, I mean,
um,
focusing on what's going to create safety for you and your
yeah,
mom,
yeah,
because the more your neighbor's actions feel personal, you make them about you, like you just get sucked into it more.
yeah. You do. Yeah,
And
I
that's
know
that's
that.
just what she wants, and she's feeding off of that. So you just
Yeah.
like it may feel difficult, but just try not to give her your attention and your
Yeah,
energy.
I know you said to me a couple of months ago, it's like she's waiting for a reaction, and that's because I'm not giving her a reaction. And now she's resorted to a lie, a nasty lie. But it's just like, to me, it's just like you say, it's letting go of all that and just
Yeah.
focusing on moving forward. It
Yep.
really
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, thank you so much, Laurel, for that.
You're so welcome. I look forward to hearing how it goes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Laurel. Thank
Okay,
you,
take
everyone.
care.
Thanks.
Hmm. Okay, Sushma. Sushma? There we go.
Hey Laura, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So,
You figured out the hand?
yes, I did. Thank you. And then
Yeah.
I was like, okay, how do I unmute?
I figured.
Yeah.
How are you
Um,
doing? How you doing this morning?
I'm 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 doing good. I am feeling a little anxious.
Okay.
And and you know my situation. So I guess what I'm looking for is just some support to trust myself and to remain calm, I guess.
Okay,
Um,
good.
yeah, I think that's what I'm
So,
looking for.
yeah, perfect.
So
And
I
and the
don't
part
fall back into the pattern of just um,
the
not being
comfort
true to
zone.
myself. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're talking about wanting to bring in trusting yourself,
Hmm.
are there any beliefs right now, any phrases that might come up in your mind that get in the way of trusting yourself?
Um, I think it's maybe just some fear that, that I have a pattern of avoiding conflict, and how do I handle a situation so I remain calm and it's beneficial, I guess, for all
Mhm.
parties.
Okay. So is there a belief that I will avoid conflict?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That, yeah, because it'll be easier to not
Hmm.
say something than to address a situation.
Okay. Um, can I actually, what I'd like to do, and this is a little bit off of what we worked on
Hmm.
yesterday, knowing the scenario today, can we do a little visualization?
Sure.
Um, is that okay? And so just helping you envision, showing up the way that you want to show up.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm trying to think where to start it because basically, the way that this works is we have a goal. Like there's a way that we want to be. And I'm going to invite you to imagine that you've actually achieved that goal. So let's just start. Let's just start from you arriving at the airport.
Okay.
And so, or even just where you are now. Like, are your bags already packed?
Um, Getting there.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's probably anxiety around. Got a lot to do in the next 3, 4 hours here.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
So but you know what you're going to wear today?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So just imagine here you are wearing what you're going to be wearing, picturing yourself. You got everything packed just in time. You had extra time. Imagining yourself getting to the airport. You got checked in, you went through TSA. It was so smooth. It's actually maybe one of the smoothest airport encounters you've had. Just imagine yourself if there's anything if you wanted to grab a beverage or a bite or maybe a magazine, if there's just anything that you might do before you make it to your gate. Just imagining moving about in a very easeful way. Yes, there's somewhere to go and things will be happening, but right now, this is where I am. I'm just fully present in this experience. Just picturing yourself moving through the airport, even though all these people around you are rushing, you have plenty of time. There's no need to rush. You're going to get to where you need to go in just the right time. So just imagining yourself really in this place of feeling calm,
Hmm.
good, relaxed. And you're at your gate and you're bored. The whole process is very smooth. And you're noticing that you're just being present and your flight was effortless. And now you arrived and gathered your luggage and you're getting ready to meet your friend,
Hmm.
the person you know, whatever you want to refer to them in your mind. And just noticing, even if this is maybe an encounter that might seem challenging, that you're feeling confident. That the sense of knowing that I'm going to be paying attention to what I need.
Mm. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcoming that commitment to yourself. And then the car pulls up and you see the person picking you up.
Hmm.
And again, that commitment to honoring yourself. That I can get in even if it's going to be uncomfortable and accept this ride with grace.
Okay.
Yeah. So as you're welcoming this scenario, is there any resistance that comes up? Any doubt?
Um, just a little bit.
Okay.
And um, it's funny. So as you were walking me through that, I was completely calm, getting to the airport early. Everything's good. And then I arrive and right away I noticed a little knot in my stomach. Um,
Yeah.
and so the resistance is, I think it's just, I know he's going to say, okay, let's go to dinner. So it's just, again, being able to articulate, um, here's what I need to get done today.
And so if he invites you to go to dinner, is it
Mhm.
a no? Is that
Not
not serving?
necessarily.
Okay.
It's, but it, um, because I'm sure that's going to happen. It's just then I guess I just need to think through, okay, how how do we converse? How do we, for the next hour, how do I just make it meaningful for me too? So I'm not just sitting there anxiously waiting to go home.
And I want to offer an invitation around that.
Okay.
Because you mentioned, we were doing our little visualization and everything felt easeful. And then you noticed a feeling in your stomach, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a thought in the mind.
No.
It was actually a physical sensation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I invite you to start noticing the physical responses because that will send a signal before your mind will give you the message.
Okay.
So if you're at the airport and then you're like, oh, I feel that sensation, take a moment to notice it. Like instead of like bypassing it, because the mind can bypass. The mind can just take a, or it can, it can go in loops. It can, the mind is tricky. But the body doesn't lie. So if you start
Mm.
to notice that tension or anxiousness or not, to really acknowledge that and to check in. Like, oh, I'm about to
Okay.
see him. He might invite me for dinner, or like allowing that to inform your decision versus like I need to think of what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Does that help?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
then maybe just some deep breaths or something to just, when I notice that anxiousness or something, just,
yeah. Taking some deep breaths, and pause and what's going on here?
okay.
What is the sensation about? Do I feel unsafe? Nervous? Like
Mm.
kind of being curious about it.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So when you think about him now, is there a physical sensation that comes up when you think about seeing him?
Um, I think what you're helping me with is just to see it differently, to accept it maybe as a challenge for myself to say, hey, how, you know, how do I how do I be confident in myself in this situation? What is that going to look like? Because that's what I want him to see.
Yeah. Confident and also because you mentioned, wanting to have a deeper sense of trust with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The mind takes up so much of our awareness. If the mind had it all its way, it would just run the whole show. And so by noticing the body, like letting the body have a voice. And if we want to feel safe, like like the body is really dialed in with safety. And
Mm.
so as we start to notice those messages, if the body feels contracted, feel tension, that's like the body is trying to make itself smaller to feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
But when we allow ourselves to be open and we're like, oh, I feel free, I feel safe, like then we can be expansive, then that sense of confidence can really come through. We
Yeah.
have to acknowledge the signals that like don't feel safe because if we override that, that's like dishonoring our relationship with ourselves. So it's really cultivating a deeper relationship with our whole body, whole being,
Mm-hmm.
so we can show up more authentic. So we can trust ourselves on a deeper level. Does that make sense?
It does. It
Yeah.
does.
It's
So
it's just
yeah,
like working a new muscle.
okay. So just
Yeah.
pay attention and then just lean into it.
Yes.
Um, okay.
And it's not about I have to know the right things to say. Like if he picks you up and he's like, "Hey, you want to go to dinner?" and you're stuck, like you're noticing the stomach is clenching and whatever, and it's like, would I be dishonoring myself if I accepted this invitation? Would I be ignoring these signals? So it's just taking that a little bit more of a pause and like, you know what? Like, I think I really need to go home.
Mm.
I think that's, thank you for the invite, but I think this is what I need to know. I just got off this flight. I need to kind of get grounded.
So just honor myself and whatever. If I'm hungry, maybe dinner's okay. If I'm feeling like flight's late and I need to get a few things done, then I just decline and go, no, I really need to go get some things done.
Yeah.
Just stay true to myself.
How does that sound?
It sounds good. It sounds good. So yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what I need. I mean, I know intuitively, I know that's I have to stand up to myself and feel comfortable for whatever. It's taking my power back. I think that's what I have to just keep working on
Yeah. I don't think, it's just,
and not trying to please the other person.
yep. Yep. This is really honoring you and, really coming from that place of curiosity. It's not like I have to effort at this. This is what I like. Oh, I get to discover myself on a deeper level.
Hmm,
Just like have fun with it.
okay, that feels
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, keep me posted.
Thank you.
Thank you, sweetie. All right. I've got Lottie.
Hi, Laurel.
Did I say your name right?
Yeah, that's a shortcut.
Okay. Well, hi, how you doing?
Mm, not bad. Not bad.
Okay. Okay.
Not bad either.
If you're not bad, what word would you use to describe how you are?
Um, can you ask again?
What's another word? Like, I mean, what
Mm,
we'll just move forward. What would you like to do today?
yeah. Mm, I
Tell
think I would
people.
like to go through the body, into the body as I'm going and feel what's happening
Perfect. Perfect. Let's
and
do
allow
that.
to dissipate what's happening, attach, like not attach, but sort of realize the belief that's causing it right now in this moment.
Perfect. So is there a particular area of the body that seems to be more activated?
So it's a mix.
Okay.
One thing is kind of stuckness in the I don't remember the word for it, but like upper lungs, which has been for
Okay.
like 1 day already, which
Okay.
is weird. Um, there's also slightly more energy or kind of a thrill, I think, from coffee.
And where is that?
That's also in this sort of same area, like chest, my heart,
Okay. So there's a
and
sense of stuckness, but also energized
yeah,
together.
those are different things, but they are coexisting there.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
And was there
And
something else?
yes, and I'm sensing also some sadness and something in the whatever labels I would put it, sadness, fear, little anxiety, some mix of those stuff that we call them like that.
And where those feelings seem to be located?
Mm. that's the whole torso and maybe stomach too.
Okay, so a lot happening up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's do, and how intense on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the most intense, the feelings that you're labeling as sadness, fear, anxiety, how intense are those feelings?
Maybe 5, quite mild.
Okay. What out of all the things you just mentioned, what has the most energy or like the most, yeah, seems to be taking up the most space for you right now?
I would say that's the sort of stuckness in the
Okay.
whatever it's the lungs or the thing that's above the lungs, you know.
Okay. Yeah. Is that the diaphragm?
Diaphragm, yeah. I think that's supposed to be
I don't really know my anatomy. Okay, so could you notice that stuckness? And I'm just going to do something. This is not the Sedona method, but since you really asked about wanting to go into the body, I like to sometimes do a little dialoguing just to see whatever arises. You know, it's just information. So noticing that area, the diaphragm, that really appears to be stuck and it's been stuck for a little while. And if you could go into that area and actually talk to it, just invite you to turn towards it and ask it, is there anything you need from me to help you not feel stuck?
hmm,
Did you get a
maybe
response?
I'm not sure. Maybe it's more the mind to have
What did you
enough
what did you get?
movement and not to eat too much shit.
Okay. And have you been stagnant for a while? Have you gotten movement lately in the past few
No,
days?
both of them are solid. Like it seems to be true.
Okay, great.
I believe that at least.
Okay, yeah. So just welcoming that, but maybe, in addition to whatever might be released, that there's an opportunity to move, maybe eat some things that might be a little more pleasing to the body.
Mm,
It's just allowing yourself to receive that information in any way that that might be helpful.
yeah, and this
And
feels really like just physical, like physiological response, to whatever I did. Not so much like not emotional sensation per
okay,
se.
great. Okay. So do you feel like that area might be good once you do those things?
Maybe it will help, but I think with the time it will just dissipate the
Okay.
heaviness.
Yeah. So just noticing, there's a lot going on in the whole torso, neck down area. There seem to be a lot of different things that you mentioned. So noticing overall anything that feels heavy or stuck or a sense of resistance. And just for now, whatever is being noticed, could you allow it to be just as it is? Could it all be welcomed?
Yes.
Good. And then could you also welcome a sense of ease, relaxation, beyond any stuckness? Even the possibility of feeling that way again. Do you welcome that too?
I don't feel this sense of ease.
Okay, so could you allow the dis-ease or the resistance as much as it's here?
Yeah, I feel that physical sensation and yes.
Okay. And could you welcome wherever that physical sensation is? Could you notice the boundary, the area where there is no sensation? Could you welcome that openness? Even if it is the space around the body. Noticing where the body ends. And that spaciousness begins. And once again, were you going to say something?
No.
Okay. Once again, could you notice any sense of stuckness? Any resistance? Could you allow it to appear as stuck as it is? Whether it's a feeling or a sensation. And could you be open? Could you be open to the possibility of it just loosening up just a little bit? And it could be welcoming a memory of when that area or that feeling was more free.
Yeah.
So good. And noticing any remaining stuckness. Again, whether it's a feeling or a sensation. Could you allow it to be as stuck as it appears to be? Without wanting to change it or fix it in any way. And could you be open to the possibility of that loosening? Relaxing. Being set free. Just for now. And what are you noticing in this moment?
I'm calmer. The sensation persists, and I don't think it will go. Well, it doesn't seem to go, not for
Okay.
now. And
Are
I'm
you
not in control of that.
are you more okay with that right now? That it's just going to be here as long as it is, and it will leave on its own?
Yes, I don't think there's anything to do about it. It takes some attention from me, but there's nothing I
Yeah.
know that can just
Perfect. Well, good. Well, may you continue to welcome the sense of calm, accepting what is here and now, knowing that it will change. Does that feel complete for you?
Mm,
Oh,
I'm not sure. Well, about this thing, there's nothing to do. So
okay.
that was complete, I guess, the whole time, seemingly.
Is there anything else that you wanted to look at, or do you feel like?
Give me a second.
Okay.
Maybe this could be a group thing
Sure.
to sort of go in and focus on allowing, whatever the sensations to be and to move, to release, to do whatever they do.
And are you asking for physical sensations?
Yes, emotional sensations.
Okay,
Let's call it.
great. Perfect. I would love to do that. I'm going to go ahead and mute you, and I'll go ahead and do a group release.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lottie. All right, my friends, and I know there are several of you with hands up. We're going to do our best to get to as many people as we can. But if you are anticipating requesting support, I invite you to, use this group release and see if it assists you in any way with whatever is apparently happening in this moment. So, check to see if there are some emotions right now that may be unwanted. It could be any kind of emotion that you would really like to get rid of it or stop feeling that way. So if so, I invite you to notice that. Notice that feeling. And you can also notice, is there a place in the body that it seems to reside or take up space? And if you've noticed a certain area, I always invite people to place a hand there. I forgot to do that with Lottie. If there's a place where there's, things seem to be stuck, there's a lot of feeling or sensation, you might place a hand on that part of the body to welcome, to send a signal of acknowledging that sensation. And as you may have heard Hale say, other teachers, emotions are energy in motion. So we really only know what anger is or sad is. Those labels come from the actual physical sensation in the body that we recognize, oh, this is what anger feels like in the body. So they really go hand in hand, the emotion and the sensation. So again, welcoming whatever emotions are here in this moment. And could you welcome them? Could they be allowed as much as they are, just as they are? If you have a hand placed somewhere, you might notice the chest rising and falling with each breath. You might notice the hand raising if you've placed a hand somewhere on the torso. Noticing the breath is yet another way that we can welcome what is here right now in this moment. So whatever is being felt, could you allow it to be here as much as it is, just as it is? The image that comes to mind for me when I fully welcome and allow whatever is apparently happening is the image of floating on the water. Absolute relaxation. absolute allowing. Whatever is to be. So I invite you, if it's helpful, to have an image right now. Can I imagine myself completely surrendering to whatever is here in this moment? No need to fix or change or make it different. Could you welcome this trust that this feeling, this energy and motion that seems so big, seems to be taking up so much space, is simply movement. Right now, it seems to be stuck. But could you welcome this possibility that it will move on its own time? There's nothing you need to do. So could you simply allow whatever is here to be here just as it is? And could you welcome this sense of beingness? That whatever this feeling is, however it seems to be causing discomfort or dis-ease, this is all part of the constant unfolding of life. Every emotion, every feeling, every thought, every sensation is all contained within this one life. There's nothing that needs to be said or done, really, to change any of it. Could you simply allow what is to be? And be. And be. Okay, good. I hope that was helpful, Lottie. I'm gonna keep moving on so we can get some more people here. All right, Irene.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, good.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So yes, I would just appreciate, I've been releasing along, as best I can. I have quite a bit of change going on, and some of it is work related, and of course that involves finances, and I'm having a lot of fear come up, so I'm wondering if you could just assist me a little bit with the fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a particular release or welcoming versus releasing that you prefer or seems to work better for you?
Um, well, I would, I guess I would go with your, uh, intuition. I mean, certainly the welcoming is good. I'm
Yeah.
very aware that I'm feeling, a lack of security, so the wanting's okay. Um, you know, it just feels like it's right in my solar plexus, and I feel like I'm gripping it. There's a contraction there, so
Yeah.
whatever you
Yeah.
um
Are
I don't know
you
if that answers your question, but
It's perfect. It's perfect.
mhm.
Do you want to do this individually or are you open to a group release?
I'd actually like if you wouldn't mind working with me first, and then if you want
Yeah.
to jump into a group release,
Absolutely. Thank you for
thank you.
speaking up for what you want and need.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Irene. Yeah, I know a lot of people probably can relate to what you're sharing. So anyone else whose Irene's circumstance seems to feel familiar, I invite you to really release along with us. Uh, yeah. So let's do some triple welcoming because you mentioned welcoming. So we can just welcome all the things, all the layers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So start with noticing noticing this circumstance around changes with work and finances and any thoughts that come up around that. I'm sure there's a lot. Just
Mm-hmm.
noticing, yeah, just noticing those thoughts. And I like to say it's like, could you notice them like they're clouds in the sky? You know, that kind of float on by, and could you allow them to simply be noticed? And then could you notice the feelings? You mentioned feeling a sense of fear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So could you allow that and any other feelings to be here as much as they are, just as they are?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Could you allow
Yeah.
yourself? Yeah, good. Could you allow yourself to feel as unsafe as you do?
Yes.
Good. Yeah. And then could you notice that physical sensation you mentioned in the solar plexus, a contraction?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like I mentioned on the group release a moment ago, if you want to, if it feels comfortable, you could place a hand in that area. Just to another signal of welcoming, of noticing that physical response to feeling unsafe.
Mm-hmm.
Good. And noticing anything else around this story, around work, these changes, any sense of lacking security or safety.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. And then could you also welcome any wanting to do anything with or about this?
Mm-hmm.
Notice any
Yeah.
yeah, any wanting to feel safe.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe there's
Yes.
also a wanting to feel more in control.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Definitely.
good. And any wanting to fix or change or solve, make it better.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Well, allowing all of that aversion, resistance to the situation to be here as much as it is.
Mm. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And then check to see, is there any sense of holding on? The way I like to typically it comes up around this is, are there any beliefs that are coming up around this experience, around it turning out a certain way? Um, any thoughts that you're not going to be secure and you're fixated
Mm-hmm.
on wanting that? So just noticing anything that you may be holding close or holding on to.
Oh, yeah. I definitely can feel that, you know, holding on sensation, the
Mhm.
gripping. I feel that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
notice that.
Perfect.
Yeah. Oh my God. For dear life, right? I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
notice how much you're holding on or appear to be. I'm
Yes.
gonna hold on to something so I don't drown.
Yes.
Yeah, good.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Hmm. And then could you notice is there anything around this experience that feels personal? Any of these, any of these changes? Any sense that it's a reflection of you, of who you are?
Oh yeah, I can feel how personal it feels.
Yeah.
It's about me. Yeah.
So could you allow it to feel as personal as it does?
Mm. Yeah.
Good,
Yeah.
good. And noticing anything else around this that you might be identifying with, any sense of I, me, or mine in relation to this experience.
Yes.
Yeah, good. And even there might be, when things like this happen and we feel unsafe, we can kind of, one of my other teachers calls it hallucinating, or we project into the future of
Mm-hmm.
what might happen, and we see ourselves, and we might see the worst case scenario, like whatever that might be for you.
Mm-hmm.
And could you notice any identifying with that
Mm.
circumstance? This is this is down the road here. I'm no longer holding on, and I'm just getting taken away by the water. Whatever it might be for you. Just noticing any projecting into the future, and that this future vision that might also feel personal. Feel like I'm identifying with that circumstance, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. And then, Irene, what would it look like for you
Mm.
if you woke up tomorrow and all of these concerns just simply melted away?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If they just weren't even here,
Mm-hmm.
could you welcome the possibility of whatever is beyond this wanting security and this fear of change? What if that all just dissolved? Maybe it never existed in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
What would be here instead for you?
Oh yeah. Well,
There's some breathing happening. That's
yeah,
good.
oh, yeah, there is. There is. Breathing is happening. Well, no, it's really actually very helpful because, I mean, there is that possibility that, that, kind of, I don't know, there's a possibility that that, dare I say it, just, I don't know, there's an openness, there's a possibility that everything could just really flow really, nicely, that it could kind of unfold and it may work out better than I am imagining, right? Um,
Has that ever happened to you before?
it did happen. Well, I can remember at least once.
Yeah.
I
Where we
mean,
we think the worst and then it actually ends up turning out to be okay, or sometimes
yeah.
even better than we imagined.
That's so true. It's so true. It's just that that's so true. And it really is helpful to that was helpful,
Good.
actually. And
So
yeah, go ahead, please. It's
ju-
just
just
yeah.
just for a moment,
Yeah.
just because we can,
Okay.
could you be open? Could you really welcome that vision of it all working out better? This sense of openness to it unfolding
Mhm.
in the best possible way.
Oh, wow. That makes me want to cry. Oh my goodness.
So just could your heart open up to that? That's possible. Why not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my
This could work
goodness.
out. This could work out beautifully. That could be a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah,
So,
that's a possibility. I could open to that possibility that it could, yeah, work out in the best possible way. Thank you. Yeah,
yeah.
I could
And,
open
and,
to that.
and could you hand over, your trust to beingness?
Oh,
That which is even, that which is all that we're a part of, that really is just above and beyond all that we have direct knowledge around it, and just trust that this I'm going to
ah.
trust that this can guide the way.
Yes, 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 I can. Oh,
Good.
yes,
Yay.
yay.
And and Irene, I have to ask, just
Go
because
ahead.
hearing your voice,
Uh-huh.
were you on the first recorded facilitator training?
I was.
I just recognize your voice. So I've heard it so many times.
Oh,
Revisiting it, so it's such a treat to work directly with you.
oh, well, how kind of you. It's thank Oh, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's very kind of you.
Yeah, I was like, I know this
Uh,
voice.
Yes, yes. Oh,
Yeah, well, thank you for joining me today. It was a pleasure. And
oh, it's mutual. Thank,
yeah, and just
thank
that,
you.
that ocean, that or that river of beingness, of life constantly moving, like you could just imagine, like I mentioned earlier, like what if you could just float in that, trusting that I am held and that I'm going to be led in the best possible direction.
Mm,
Just really allowing that to guide you.
beautiful.
Good
Yes.
job. Yay.
Yay. Yay. We did it. Oh,
We
thank you
did
so
it.
much, Miss
You're so
Laura. Yeah.
welcome. I wish you well in all that transpires.
Thank you. Thank you with all my heart.
Oh, you're
And I
so
appreciate your
welcome.
help. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hmm. All right, friends. I didn't even realize what time it was. Um, I hate to pull away from you all. But I think I need to. Unfortunately, I hope these releases were helpful, and it's just such a pleasure to be here with each and every one of you. And I look forward to being here again next month on June 3rd. Uh, please look for that. And yeah, thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Laurel. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. You all enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to next time.
Bye.
Thank
See.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye,
Hmm.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
friends.
Bye.
Hmm.